right, all right, all right. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning. Excited about a 2-0 series lead for the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final. First time in franchise history, 2 wins away from a Stanley Cup, so it's exciting times.
Yeah, toughness, man. Toughness. You know, we talked about the Dolphins in winter games, which, by the way, for you newbie Dolphin fans out there, just so you'll know, the Dolphins have sucked in that condition for 40 years. Just so you'll know. Okay. The Dolphins don't play well in those conditions. The last time they played well, I think I was in attendance. Okay. And Don Beebe broke his leg, and we were at Orchard Park, and I was there with my girlfriend, now wife. This was, well over 30 years ago, obviously. This was the snow game and all that kind of stuff. So this is a long time ago in the 90s. And that's the last game I remember in the cold that the Dolphins played well and lost. You know what I'm saying? So it's not something that they have done for a long time, but toughness is a key in any sport. You know what I'm saying? Whether we talk about the Heat, when they've had success, it's because they brought a level of toughness. We see the Panthers, they're here because they're tough now. A couple years ago, they were a bunch of freaking wussies, and they would get pushed around and they did not punch back. Now they're so physical. They didn't even get physical with them yesterday, and they got them out of their game yesterday, which is really good.
Yeah, and I'm no hockey expert, but yeah, that goes back to that Kachuk trade a couple of years ago. That was the hot topic back then. And then they didn't have as many wins in the regular season coming off that, but then had that successful postseason run last year. You see how that style wins in the playoffs now 2 years running, where this team makes deep runs as opposed to going out early to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I remember covering one of those series as well when I was the Hurricanes, right? And then I filled in on some Panthers coverage for us.
The sad part about that is it sucks to lose, but losing to the Lightning really wasn't like something like terrible. You know what I'm saying? Because damn, they were dominant, bro. Yeah. Dominant.
Those brackets just wouldn't work out for the Panthers. Having them so early in the postseason, that was always a tough draw.
Right, and that's the thing. But the good thing about that is that it showed them this is the standard, dude.
Yeah.
So this is your standard to get out of the state. Forget trying to win a cup. No. You just want to get out of the state. You got to beat the team that's right in your state, because, you do that. Now you've got a shot at winning a title. You know what I'm saying? The stat yesterday, the Panthers allowed 200 goals this year. They allowed 270 last year. Dude, that's a lot to cut out from last year. 70 goals. That's nearly a third of your goals almost, man. It's probably like 28% or something of your goals that you've eliminated. That's impressive right there.
And it's telling how they get opponents out of their game. Like Edmonton now is taking cheap shots to keep up the Boston series. I remember that going on as well. So, yeah. And then you bring it full circle with the Dolphins and them having to toughen up. Well, I mean, they made some moves of guys who have played in that kind of way. They bring Jordan Poyer from Buffalo. And then now I'm sure we're going to talk about that. They just signed another safety, but yeah, but like what other free agent moves?
Oh, no, Brooks
Seattle. Anthony Walker was in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brooks is going to be more physical than Baker.
Right.
Brooks was, I think, this is just me. Like I've said before, Brooks is your Josh Allen spy. That's not only because they needed a physical linebacker in there, but they also needed an athletic linebacker in there. And so I think he adds a level of physicality, to them. Poyer, like you said, that's a great point on your part. He's going to bring a level of physicality also, to that safety position. They did sign a whole bunch of defensive tackles, and Weaver talked about coming at waves. And so, that's something that you would hope that tone is going to, kind of change. For me, look, dude, I don't get caught up as much as everybody else does about the whole thing at the end of the year, the last 2 years, because in the end, I think you would be more physical. And quite frankly, I think the people that say, oh, you took a step back this year. I'm like, no, dude, they didn't take a step back. They're better this year. All they have to do is be healthy at the end of the year. To me, that's really been what's hurt you. Your entire linebacking core, your 2 pass rushers, your corner was a shell of himself. Your safety was playing with 2 bad knees. I mean, there was no way of you being physical when you're that injured. Your offensive line was, shredded. The year before was the same shit. You had no secondary whatsoever. Your offensive line was, dog shit. There was so much going on at times. To me, that's been more the problem, that I think you'll have a chance to be more physical if you're actually healthy at the end of the year.
Yeah, actually healthy. And then you mentioned the D-line coming in waves. That's going to keep these guys fresh. So it's not going to be as dependent on a Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer combination playing 90+% of snaps. So, which, I mean, they always, granted, they always brought it and always had that presence to them. So, yeah, you can never fault those guys. That was a great tandem. But maybe now taking this different approach will just net some greater results in just maximizing what they provide for the snaps that these guys are on the field. And it's funny, yeah, we mentioned Jordan Brooks. I did a spot last week with a Seattle radio station because they wanted some insight on Jerome Baker. So they basically just interviewed me entirely about Jerome Baker. And then, we brought up early how it was basically a swap of linebackers, Jerome Baker for Jordan Brooks. And then when they asked me, what's the take? What are the takes in South Florida about who won this essential trade? And I started off by saying, well, I'm sure in Seattle, everyone's probably saying you guys won it with Jerome Baker, but down here, and they said, I don't know if we think that. So, both in Miami and in Seattle, they feel Jordan Brooks was the better of the two. So, that's telling when even they say it over there.
Dude, if you know football. Baker's a nice player. Brooks is a better player, dude. Yeah. He's a better player. That was a good move. Fuller's a better player than X is right now. Okay?
Yeah.
He just is. X cannot physically do what he used to do anymore. And Lord knows his baggage. Woo, doggy. Wow, you still getting any emails if people want X back or regretting that they didn't bring him back? Or you getting any more of those, David Furones?
I'm not getting. I don't know how many of those I was getting, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not seeing them right now. Yeah, I mean, off the field issues, I think the Dolphins deal with enough with Tyreek Hill. 2, they don't need anymore. Yeah, you're right there, and that was a good point you mentioned on Brooks about Josh Allen spy, because I mean, you have to also make moves to beat the team that you need to get past in order to have your postseason success. So how do you find postseason success? Well, first of all, play at home in the wild card round and divisional round by winning the division first and foremost. And you're going to have to get over Josh Allen and the Bills in the regular season to win the division and play at home in the postseason. So you don't have to go into sub-zero temperatures on wild card weekend.
Yeah, no. And that's what I've been saying about him. Signed him. They signed him specifically because of Josh Allen, man. So, all right, let's get into Marcus May. No, I'm not getting into X with him. Who cares already? Let's move on. All right. Plus, it's not the Dolphins' problem anymore. That's his damn problem that he'll be broke very shortly with all the legal issues and the baby mamas. By the way, Tyreek, you'll be broke too on your pace too. Let's go with safety, Marcus May. I actually like this signing because I think it's kind of an under the radar signing. I think he's a better player than people think. He's actually had some, bad luck the last couple of years with the suspension and the injury and all that. But he has a shit ton of experience. He can back up both safeties. And I think after these mini camps, they weren't happy with the third option at safety. So when they do run 3 safeties, I think you just signed your third safety. I think he's going to be the third safety and the backup to Poyer and to Holland. And at the same time, Poyer is up there in years. So if you want to give him a little bit of a breather on a series or two, you can use Marcus May. That's the way I kind of view him. How do you view it?
Yeah, certainly. He's a bona fide starter. I mean, every game he's played in the NFL, he has started. So that's been him, his career, his time with the Jets, time with the Saints. So yeah, some shoulder injuries last year. But man, if you guys remember that really impressive 2020 interception against the Dolphins, he pinned it against his backside on a deep ball to Preston Williams. That was him on that highlight. So maybe Dolphins fans remember his name from that highlight of a play. But yeah, I mean, the Dolphins with Elijah Campbell sort of as that top backup safety behind Javon Holland and Jordan Poyer. We all knew they needed someone, needed to make a move there. Trying the cross training also with Nick Needham, who can play in the nickel, trying to get some more safety work in there as well. So I think, yeah, the Dolphins saw what they had at safety. They saw everything because they had Poyer and Holland and the backup. So I think they saw the waves, the different teams, different units that the Dolphins have on that last line of defense. And probably came away from OTAs and minicamp feeling, yeah, we do need someone who's a player that's capable as a bona fide starter, but now in his 30s, so he can be a rotational player, and we all know Anthony Weaver probably can find some ways to mix and match with those three safeties. So a good pickup. And you talk about under the radar. It's that's about as under the radar as it gets when you drop it in the second period of the Stanley Cup final game, and then just really fly under the radar in South Florida. Just all right, we sneak this one in, and it's not a move of the caliber of Justin Simmons going after him, but it's a piece that you can now mix and match with the safety group that you already have.
And again, it kind of goes with their theme, versatility. He's a guy that can play free. He can play strong. So you can kind of mix it up a little bit with him at the same time. And I think that's kind of been the theme with them on defense, that Weaver wants guys that have some versatility to them. So that way he can be versatile as a defensive coordinator and calling, obviously, different kinds of sets out there. And so it's clear that he is going to change the looks of that defense throughout a game because he continues to add players that have multiple, that are versatile, in other words.
Well, think about it. If you have Jalen Ramsey as the ultimate chess piece, as Anthony Weaver has called him, then that means when you move Jalen Ramsey around, then other guys are also going to have to move around. So it's not just like you can't just move Jalen Ramsey by himself and then everyone else does the same thing. So there's other moving parts that go with that. That's actually part of why maybe Vic Fangio wasn't moving guys around last year, is that then different other guys have to change what they have to do. So, and he wanted to keep it the same as often as possible. Whereas now you get different guys with versatility, and then you don't worry about, well, when I move one guy, is another guy going to be in an uncomfortable position? No, you have guys who are versatile and can line up in different places.
And like I told you, Holland will be the same thing. You're going to watch Holland be you're going to see him and Jalen Ramsey are going to be moved around all over the place. And I think Javon Holland, that's why I talked about how Weaver's already winning by doing what he's doing, because look, Javon Holland's going to be a pro no matter what. And so is Jalen Ramsey. They're going to do their jobs. But when this coach comes in and is able to relate to them better than the prior coach, plus he's also going to look at him and say, hey, dude, I know who you are, bro. You can do this and this and this, and I'm going to use you this way. And Jalen's like, all right, dude, thank you for understanding who I am and what I bring, and thank you for doing that. And so it's not that Jalen's going to be a better player. Well, he actually is going to be a better player. That he's going to be a better pro. No, he's still going to be a pro. But you got a better chance of getting more out of a player if you're communicating, reaching them, and understanding who they are. These people aren't stupid, bro. They know what they can do. They know what they can't do. They know what their limitations are, all that kind of stuff. So when a coach doesn't tap into their potential or exposes them and puts them in a place where they shouldn't be, that's where you start losing players. That's where they get pissed off. And so now Javon Holland was kicking rocks, right? The second they fired him. And then when they bring on Weaver, you guys ask, what does he talk about? Oh, he's a great communicator. He's a good person, all of those things. So to me, Weaver is already ahead of Fangio because he has reached these guys already on a mental plane. And then that allows him to go get the max athletically and physically from them. He can ask more from them than Fangio could.
And we learned during minicamp that Weaver already had this head start on exactly this, the communication, the camaraderie building, chemistry, by organizing these pickup basketball games with the defensive staff. So he got to it right away, gets these basketball games going that have now become a huge thing with the defensive side of the coaching staff, a side that's had so much turnover. Basically, it's 8 new coaches on that side. When you even go down, all the way to the just regular defensive assistant title, aside from position coaches and coordinators, and plus 2 guys that had their roles changed on that side of the staff. So with all that turnover, getting that going, and you see Anthony Weaver over the weekend, he's at Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final with Mike McDaniel. They're in the suite after McDaniel banged the drum to start that game. I saw him out and about at the combine with a lot of with a squad of Dolphins coaches. They were all going to the same place at the same time, joking with each other, smiling, laughing. I saw him, out with Mike McDaniel. So you see how he is that kind of communicator, chemistry builder, just from the jump from when he got started, and how it's just over time, over several months, really paid dividends with what Jalen Ramsey has said about him, what Javon Holland has said about him, and these players really identify with him.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. When you look at McDaniel, I forgot which press conference it was this past week, but at one point he said that he felt like he had the right coaches that all are on the same page. And when he got there, it's like anyone that takes over a new business. Yeah, you know what? I don't like this manager. I don't like these employees. I don't like the way they do this here. So when somebody new takes over, they kind of make changes. And then along the way, they got to make some other changes because they're kind of tweaking things along the way. And that's what McDaniel has had to do over the last couple of years. Obviously, 3 different defensive coordinators. One he inherited for continuity purposes, and then that didn't work out. So you made your change, and then that didn't work out. So now you find the guy that has the same kind of skill set when it comes to communication skills that you do. And so, I forgot which press conference it was, but I kind of picked up on it that McDaniel really felt like he now has the staff that everybody is on the same mental plane, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, certainly. And I think in that defensive coordinator, because he already had the offensive side sort of set the way he wants it, and that's why they have retained that staff together, even as Frank Smith is offensive coordinator. He's interviewed for some head coaching jobs, but still there. Darrell Bevell has turned down opportunities to get back into the offensive coordinator ranks. We saw that in offseason prior. So he wants to stay here, continue building with Tua Tagovailoa as his quarterback's coach. And then now on the defensive side, I think he gets a guy that's very like-minded to him, whereas he inherited Josh Boyer. So it was a year of keeping that defensive staff that, had success before he got there, and he's an offensive-minded coach. Okay, we get it. The organization wants to keep the defense together, intact as much as possible. Then, all right, so you move on from that. Vic Fangio was sort of like an opposites attract type of relationship where, he's that old school, been coaching since before McDaniel was born type of coach. And then you get, McDaniel, which is very new school. And then sort of, it didn't work out for that one season so much. And then now he's really got someone who's very like-minded as a defensive coach and a guy who's a former player. So he identifies with really everyone in the building, whether it's McDaniel as the head man or all the current players having been in their shoes.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff, man. Overall, so Tua got his contract finally.
A Tunga Vailoa got his contract. Signed his contract.
I'm sorry. That's right. A Tunga Vailoa got his contract. Yeah, that's right. We might freak people out here. Yes. The Tiger Cats of Hamilton have a Tunga Vailoa now, huh?
Yeah. So I assume that's now Tua's new favorite CFL team, if he had any favorite CFL team before this.
Yeah. That's funny. By the way, I'm wondering, have the Dolphins ever had a player from the Hamilton Tiger Cats? Because you know what? I don't even remember. I just thought about this right now. I don't remember where Cam Wake came from. I don't remember where Mark Dixon came from. I know that Ricky went to the Argonauts for a little bit when he came back.
That one, yeah.
But I don't remember. Maybe somebody can help us out there. But because we have had a couple of CFLers come this way. So
upon a quick Google search, Cameron Wake was with the BC Lions.
Ah, there you go. That's right. I remember that now.
That'd be British Columbia, right?
How about damn it, the offensive lineman I just said. Come on, man, help me out here. Damn it, he was terrific. Mark Dixon.
All right.
What do you play for? Oh, you got it, Sean?
He's with Montreal.
Ah, the
Alouettes. And he's also with the Baltimore Stallions, and he played in NFL Europe.
Oh, the Stallions. Wow, that's when we had a CFL team in the U.S. Wow, okay. That's pretty cool. Or was that the World League of Baltimore Stallions? I think it might have been the World League. That's what it was.
No, you were right. It does say, he says he earned starting positions with the Baltimore Stallions and Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League.
Okay. All right. What did we have another Canadian player come down and play with us? I think I'm missing one. Is there one more?
Javon Holland himself is Canadian, but not CFL.
No. But I almost think that there's one more guy that we picked up from Canada. I forgot. Maybe I'm forgetting who the hell it is overall. All right. So what do you got going on in the slow time here as you're waiting for this tour? By the way, the Marcus May signing, the rookie signing, the Waddle contract, dude, I'm more than convinced that the Tua deal is pretty close to done. They must know exactly what they're paying him pretty much. They're just kind of hammering out some stuff. There's no way you keep doing all this when that contract needs to get done. You know what I'm saying? And that's an enormous deal that you need to know where you stand. I keep thinking this deal is practically done.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be on the doorstep. I think even when Tua expressed his frustration a little bit last week, it was that it just hasn't gotten over the hump. He alluded to significant progress that they have made, but I just wrote about those pickup basketball games that I mentioned. Anthony Weaver's organized, so good stuff there. The Marcus May signing got coverage on that, and then I'm still not sure which storylines that I have left over from camp. I'll throw out there, but there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, we had so many interviews with assistant coaches, so I'll be rolling that out and getting ready for just that moment. Once that moment comes, that Tua contract finally gets signed, sealed, and delivered, then have that ready. So, you got like
70% of that article written already.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm about to do today, so that I make sure I have it once it's up there. Just last week it was just so much daily grind. Today I kind of have a day where, all right, Perk is writing for us today. I can kind of take a step back, and then if the Tua news breaks, whenever that happens, then just have that ready to go.
Yeah, because you guys are going to have most of that article ready. All you got to do is add the particulars, but you'll have the whole storyline and all that crap.
Yeah, all the background, how we got here, and then finally we get that number, and then the context of what other quarterbacks are making, how it compares, all that.
Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and make sure you subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. Welt Rheaume 954-966-4646. Folks, we are in hurricane season. Don't screw around. And listen, it doesn't even have to be a hurricane. We have now storms that just all of a sudden drop several inches of rain because there's a lot of humidity now in the atmosphere, a hell of a lot more than it used to be. And so now the storms are coming and they're worse. So water damage can happen, storm damage can happen, folks, whatever it is, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Listen, they have their own adjusters. So the second you call Welt Rheaume, they send over their adjusters, and then they call the insurance company. You never have to deal with the insurance company. No headaches for you. They eliminate all the headaches, and they bring it home for you, baby. They give you that check. Welt Rheaume, 954-966-4646. Anywhere in the state, call them. The consultation's free. So if you're not sure if you have a case, you can find out. 954-966-4646.